Hello everyone, and welcome to another art video featuring a different fandom. This time, instead of Pokemon, I will be delving into the world of My Little Pony. I have been such a huge fan of this series since I was a kid and only recently finished all of the 9-season show and the Equestria Girls movies. I even designed my own pony Sona ages ago, with this one trend going around on TikTok where you use filters to come up with the pony type, name, and color palette, but for this challenge I used a basic spin the wheel app. Armed with my spinner, Ibis paint, and all the free time in the world, I set to work designing a collection of fan-made My Little Pony characters using random attributes. All my designs in this video use the ElementBases character sheets on DeviantArt, so please go check out their stuff if you want to try this challenge for yourself. The first of these designs I spun is the Pegasus pony type, the same of the main sixes Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy. Much like these two, I managed to spin the wheel for their body colours as my palette, plus silver in the mane and tail, as well as blue eyes. Using a suitable colour palette from Pinterest, I began my method of drawing My Little Pony OCs. I've made a few in the past, some for Inktober last year and some for Art Fight, and got settled into a routine that I tend to use when drawing a fan-made pony. As you'll see in these speed paints, I begin the outline with a slightly darker colour than what the body's coat colour would be and outline all the parts I plan to use and ignore the parts I don't use. In this case, I kept the wings but not the horn in this time around. Next, I would take to filling in the body colour, then drawing in the mane and tail per what I'd spun and written in the corner of the canvas. And upon closer inspection, yeah, it looks like Fluttershy, but don't worry, that all changes once I bring in the mane and tail. I decided I wanted to do a flowy kind of hair like Fluttershy and resemble the rain and rain clouds. At this point I also started brainstorming ideas for a name, and oh boy, I got stuck on this one for a while. My first thought was Sunshower, but I knew there was a canon character by that name, which ended up having a suspiciously similar design to this one, and I mean really similar. With the body, mane, tail, and eyes out of the way, I had to come up with the most important part of the design, the cutie mark, and we all know how important it is to pony culture. After all, our favourite fillies have a club dedicated to it. Originally, I'd planned to create a weather-related cutie mark for this character, but that also came to struggle as bad as the name brainstorming. Thinking about other elements of the sky I could use, I thought, what's beyond the sky? Space. And what's in space? The sun. Wait, the moon. The stars? And then it hit me. Planets. I could create an astronomer pony who dreams of flying beyond the clouds and into space. With that, I created a cluster of planets in a blue and yellow palette and set it on the name Sunshine Sky Searcher, or Sunny for short. I absolutely adore this colour palette because honestly, it seems to go downhill after the next pony. Speaking of the next pony, let me show you the design for the unicorn of this video. Once again, I went back to the random spinner app and was given the traits of a purple body, long mane and tail with orange colouring, and red eyes. I once again turned to Pinterest for a colour palette and got to work. The one thing I knew I wanted to add to this design was making the mane and tail look like fire, since the colour wheel had given me an orange colour as inspiration. I came up with this wavy style that would be a lot more complex than the regular designs of the show, even for a main character. Particularly with how the colouring for this one's mane became more like shading or highlights rather than the usual streaks in ponies with multicoloured manes and tails. I suppose this does add to the fiery idea I had, but wasn't necessarily what I was going for when trying to keep the original style of the G4 show. However, I did like how this one came out, particularly its cutie mark. As I was designing this one, I had space and stars on my mind after the last design, and figured I could run with it as inspiration, and then the name for this pony. I created a comet-like design that used all the colours in the palette and once again referenced fire in its shape. But to hone in on the comet design, I added streaks of red and orange to look like a falling comet. With the pony design and its cutie mark pairing, I created the name Aurora Comet. I'm not too certain about the lore of this character and how she may have gained her cutie mark, but if you've got any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. The third character in this video is the princess of the 4 designs, after spinning Alicorn on the pony type wheel. This time with the colour selection wheel, I decided to create the palette myself. Blue for the body, black and bronze for the mane and short tail, and golden eyes, which I also use for the magic colour later. As I was selecting the colours for this one, it did cross my mind that I had no idea what to do for the cutie mark in this character. Then again, I'd barely started on the design for this character, so I put the cutie mark idea on the back burner until I finished the initial mane and tail design and colouring in this new princess character. I wanted to add some additional elements beyond the standard unicorn format of wings and horn. as each character that is a canon princess has an element of uniqueness to their design. Celestia has a gradient in her hair, Luna's mane has an outline and her cutie mark has questionable quality. Is that just the moon, or is the black part also part of it? Cadence has gradient wings, and Twilight has main character syndrome. Just kidding, in our future design she copies Celestia's mane and general body shape. Perhaps that what happens as a direct student of the princesses. And Flurry Heart, the first natural-born alicorn. So with this design, I chose to create a unique trait that, as far as I know, doesn't exist on a canon character: body freckles. I placed random dark-coloured dots all over the legs of this character, up to where they connect at the hips and shoulders. And as all the princesses have, I added a necklace. This one has a dark blue gemstone in the centre. Again, with the mane on this character, the stripes in the mane aren't quite the same as the G4 style, but I enjoy how they seem to replicate the waviness of the usual princess mane and tail styles. Finally, I reach the dilemma of a cutie mark. Each princess has an important role that represents something in society: raising the sun, raising the moon, embodying love, and harnessing the power of friendship through the elements of harmony. Each thing allows pony society to function, and I thought, what else brings people together that means a lot to society as a whole? And I landed on music. Using the most recognizable musical symbol of the treble clef, I designed an icon that matched perfectly with this character, and here she is. Princess Melody, Princess of Music. I think if I were to redesign her with my own color selection, I might change or add to her main colors, but otherwise, I really like how this design turned out. If you have any ideas on how to redo these designs in the future, feel free to come up with some suggestions and I'll be sure to have a look in the future. The fourth and final design of this video is the Earth Pony character. This time I didn't get super lucky with a large variety of colours and respun black, bronze, and gold from previous characters. The only semblance of variety I got this time was the green eye colour, which I also added to the cutie mark later on. Once again, for this design I picked the colour palette myself. I did need to be careful regarding the saturation of the body tone. A fundamental part of My Little Pony character design is that the outline colour is significantly darker than the body itself, but only a big enough contrast so that it is visible, but not so highly saturated as to appear off-putting to a viewer. So with this design, you could argue that the body colour of this pony is just a very dark grey, and if you do, that's honestly fair. As for the mane and tail, which both spun to be short and use bronze and gold colours, this one was rather easy to come up with compared to the others, in both style and colour placement. This one looks a lot less likely to be misinterpreted as a real character in terms of the colours I landed with. As for the cutie mark design, I was inspired by the bronze and gold colours as precious metals. Inspired by that and the green eye colour, I created a gem as the cutie mark, which became this character's name, Emerald Gem. I'm not super fond of this design or the name choice, but I'm pretty happy with each character's design regardless. And that is it for randomly designed My Little Pony characters. I really hope you enjoyed this challenge as much as I did, and I'd love to do it again if enough people were interested. Maybe if I tried this again in the future, I could do some comment-suggested designs. If you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments below, and tell me, what design was your favourite this time around? Please go ahead and check out ElementBases if you want to have a go at this for yourself with poses based on the official show. But that's it for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.